Today we're going to look at the story of Jesus told, titled The Prodigal Son. And there are three characters in this really dramatic story of God's grace and mercy. The father of the story represents God, a God who loves us, God who's given us all things. We also have the younger son who represents really each one of us. The younger son is us before we began following Jesus. The younger son is us before we take that first step of faith. And then we have the older brother, and the older brother was everyone who thinks they're right with God but really aren't, and he's got his issues. But today we're going to focus on the younger son. Look totally at him. Because Jesus is talking to the crowds, and he tells them some stories about a sheep who ran away, about a lost sheep that ran away, about a lost coin that's kind of rolled away, and then this lost son, this son who's going to walk away. And Jesus speaks to us out of the book of Luke. He said, Jesus continued, there was a man who had two sons. And the younger son said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. So he divided his property between them. And not long after that, the younger son got together all he had and set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. Now notice, the son took his inheritance and went to a distant country. He did not begin in a distant country. His story begins at home with his father. It's humanity's story. We began at home with God. And it's to be each of our stories one day to be home again with God. For we are most fully human. We're most fully what we are created to be when we are in that relationship at home in a sense of oneness with God. But the younger son wanted none of that. And so he left behind his relationship with his father because the young son wanted to do his life his way in a distant country that was far, far away. And so he took his inheritance. And so he had all the money he could want. And because he had all the money he could want, he had all the money friends could buy. Had all the friends money could buy. And if there's a party, he was there. Anytime, all the time. Party, hey, I'm there. You need any help with money? Here, I can give you some money. I can help out. Need some booze? He could go get it. Drugs, not a problem. I can afford it. And the world, with all that it offered, the world came knocking at his door, and he kicks the door wide open and lets it in. And then we hear these words, they're squandered. That's a harsh, hard word, squandered. It's to spend wastefully or extravagantly. Every privilege afforded him, wasted. Every penny given to him, wasted. The awesome life his father and mother had for him, wanted for him, wasted. The younger son went off to find himself, and in the end, he ended up losing himself. But after he spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. You know, some things we do to ourselves. The son decided to live on the wild side. He chose to squander his wealth. He opted for a life that did not include his father. The decisions he had made in his past led to the brokenness in his present. And when I was working with the ROTC cadets and talking to the young men and women in PT, and whenever I could get a chance to converse with them, I always say that choose well, because the decisions you make today will impact you for the rest of your lives. So choose well and be careful in your choices. And the son had made his decisions, and now he had to live by them. You know, some things we have to own, we just do to ourselves. But then the world has forces that really impact us when we least expect it. Because there was a severe famine in that entire country. And he began to be in great need. And in his great need, he went and hired himself to a citizen of that country who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. And he was so hungry, he longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating. But no one gave him anything. He was in need of money. It was gone. Need of food. Wanted to eat pig slop. Place to sleep. And what he needed most, that he has just now come to realize, he needed a relationship with his father. His loving father, his mother home, who would have given him anything, but instead the son chose the world that took everything. And the son walked away. But then came that day, that moment, when he began his journey back home. And when he came to his senses, he said, how many of my father's hired men have food to spare? And here I am starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired men. So he got up and he went to his father. You know, it says when he came to his senses, that literally means he remembered who he was. He realized in that moment that he was much more than a feeder of pigs. He remembered he was his father's son. And he knew where he belonged. He belonged back home. Back home with his father, with his mother, with his family. And so he got up and he began his journey back home. That is the exact same journey of each one of us. When we come to the realization, that point in our lives, we realize that we were made for more than what we have been living out. That we were made for a relationship with God, and we begin our journeys back home. That's my journey. That's your journey. That was his journey. And it's that journey that Miles Salmon has begun to travel. And he's going to come now and share with us his story.
Thank you guys very much for giving me a chance to tell this story today. For those of you who don't know, give me a minute. I am running on a lot of coffee and a lot of little sleep. If you don't know me very well, or I haven't ever said it to you and Ian or anybody, I'm actually a bartender at night. So every Sunday, I'm usually running about 5 hours of sleep, getting home at about 2 in the morning. And I can tell you, I never thought I'd be in a point of life where I am excited to get up on a Sunday morning. And I didn't think that would ever be the case. But today, the biggest thing I'm here to talk about is the journey of the last year for me. It's something I've never said out loud in public before, at least not into anything but a private area, but I'm going to start with it. My name is Miles, and one of the biggest journeys of the last year was overcoming my addiction. I'm not going to give much power to that anymore because the point of today is to talk about the journey to get to where I'm at now. But judging by the story we just heard, I was that son. I did lose everything. I lost my best friend's respect. I lost the love of my life. I lost my parents' respect. And I went to a really, really dark place. I lost everything that made me me. My loyalty, my honesty, my care for other humans, honestly. And about a year ago, my partner saved my life, 100%, and gave me a choice to either go take care of this problem or to lose everything I had. And that night, I prayed really, really hard. And I've never actually even told anybody this story. And I had a dream that night. And I was sitting with 17-year-old me. And I thought I was there to give that person wisdom. Turns out they were there to give me wisdom. And they told me, have you ever, Miles, ever thought that maybe at 34 you need a little help? You might need a little bit of backup. And I don't know how in my dream, and I to this day think it was God, they said, why don't you try praying? Why don't you try praying really, really hard? So I prayed and I begged and I begged and I begged for a second chance for anything. And it's amazing, the next morning a lot of amazing things started happening. I was ready to go take care of my problem. I was becoming me again. And the final nail in the coffin was I did go to rehab, something I will say. And we got a call about it on Easter Sunday. And that was actually my first night in rehab, was Easter Sunday of last year. I'm actually coming up on my 1-year anniversary of sobriety on Wednesday of this next week. But as I got there, I started reading a lot of the scripture and the stuff of the AA and NA. And as I've talked to Scott numerous times, it is very, very similar. It's telling you that you have to accept that you are powerless, that you need somebody to help guide you. And I started finding God, and my life started going so much better. And at first, I was just kind of trying to figure it out, but every time I just trusted in something other than myself, I just let myself be myself, things started happening. The darkness in me started leaving. Everybody started realizing I was changing. And by God's grace, I gained my family back. I gained my brothers back. I gained my best friend back. I gained everything back. Now, when I heard that story just now, I had to add something to it because when I had nothing, I was the one that went back to my parents. And I am blessed to tell you here today, and I may be biased, I have the greatest parents I could ever ask for in my life. They have supported me. They've been having my back. They're here today supporting me as I tell this story. But when I was at my lowest point in my life, I didn't care about them. I took every gift they gave me and I blew it. I took every trust I had and I blew it. And that was a hard thing to understand. And there was a lot of crying and a lot of praying and a lot of times I doubted myself and I doubted, was praying going to do it? Was believing in faith really going to make a difference in my life? And honestly, it's been probably the biggest difference maker in the world I've ever had. It has been the most profound change in me over the last year as I've overcome this journey. And that led me to find this place. Now, I am going to tell one funny story. I know Jess is going to hate me, but when we were coming out of our issues, Jess actually hit the mailbox outside. That is the Eden mailbox. Or not Eden mailbox, TVC mailbox. But we came one day to pay Jess back. She wanted to pay back Scott and Carol. They were so polite about it. And she needed that day somebody to be Jesus. So I came to church with her. I came to support her originally, not even sure if I was a church guy yet, just knew I had a profound faith. And the minute that I met Scott, he made a giant change in my life. He made me feel like it wasn't a church about flair. It wasn't a church about what you had. It was about family, community, and faith. And that's all this is about. And that has been one of the most amazing experiences, to find a church that is that way. And I am just very, very blessed. And I have been discipling with Scott for a while now, and Brian, and a guy named Caden, who's very awesome too. And that, looking at the Bible, has really made me focus on being the best person I can be every day. Not perfect, not trying to be something I'm not, but the best version of me every day. An honest, good person, and I am so blessed that I've had all of you to help inspire me to do that. And I also want to shout out the Eden residents specifically. I work at Esquire Lounge in downtown, so I am downtown all the time, and I have been a bartender for the better part of 16 years now. You guys inspire me every day to get up on Sunday when I am sleep deprived and tired, because I know you guys go through so much to get here every Sunday. And I've seen you guys for years, outside everything else. You're always the most polite people. You've always made my day, even if not you individually, people in your community have. And when I first started coming here, and I was getting up on little sleep, I didn't want to come, I'll be honest with you. Bartending is a hard job, and I am very worn out on Sundays. But I always think of you guys, and I think of the journey you guys come every Sunday, rain, sleet, or snow, buses, whatever, and that inspires me. And I think sometimes you guys deal with a lot, and I thought that was something I wanted to let you guys know, is you inspire me every day, every Sunday to come to church. Because I am sick too. I have a disability, but my disability is manageable. It takes a lot of hard work every single day. And it is a journey that I don't like to always say out loud, but it's something that I have to fight every single day. But I can fight it every single day. And the way you guys fight every single day, I thought you guys deserved a shout out for once. So that was my big one for that. And everybody in this community that's been so welcoming, accepting, and everything. Maybe you didn't know this part of me, but there was a huge darkness before I started coming into the light. And as I sit here today, I've lost friends. I've lost everything. And somehow in the last year, because of God and because of a lot of luck, in my opinion, I've had my family back, my friends back, my partner back, my brothers back. But most importantly, I have my self-respect back. I have myself back, which is a guy that cares about other people, somebody that's not afraid to come out of their shell and tell that, no, what you see here isn't always what you see. And sometimes that needs to be said out loud. And God has changed my life to the 100%, to the point where at one point I didn't think I was going to be really wanting to go on much longer, I'll be honest with you. And there was a time I just didn't think anybody was ever going to care again, or that I had blown every opportunity, or I had been blessed with every single gift, just like in the story today. I've had help, I've had money, I've had every bit of support. I wouldn't even gotten to get the help if it wasn't for my parents. But it's not about what you've been given, it's what you take with the opportunities you're given. And ever since that I've been discipling, coming to church, and being a better person, a lot of good things have been happening in my life. And as I continue to fight this every day, I just want everybody to know how much you guys have made a profound impact on my life, how much you inspire me, how much you've welcomed me, and how much, honestly, it just has touched me from a very, very deep level. God works in mysterious ways, and I could never have predicted a year ago that not only would I go through my own journey, but that the most random mailbox hit of all time brought me to this community. And I am very, very blessed with that. And I also do want to say thank you again. I got two of my brothers here today, Paul and Daniel, who are here to support support me. I have my best friend in the world, Jess. I have my parents and one of my parents' best friends, Tarek, who's been amazing to me as well. They are all the ones that have been my biggest supporters in this journey the last year. But besides them, you guys have been my biggest inspiration in the last year. You can have everything, lose everything. You can have the best walk of life you can ask for, the worst walk of life you can ask for. But one thing I have learned in the last year, having faith is a lot better than being alone. And having a community is a lot better than not. I am absolutely blessed to be here today 1 year from when I was at my absolute worst. Not caring if I went on, not caring about anything. Not caring if my parents... I'll be honest, I wasn't even there for my own mother's knee surgery. That's how much I wasn't there. But for knee surgery number 2 last year, I was there every single day. And I will continue to be there every single day. And I wake up every single day and thank God for the opportunity to be there every single day, to make a difference in people's lives. Or as Scott said, be Jesus for somebody today. And I hope on my story, it'll help you kind of get a little bit of inspiration into who I am as a person, but also give yourselves credit that everybody that believes they're making a difference, you've all made a profound difference on my life. And I don't know where I would be without everything that has happened in the last year. Because right now I'm smiling, happy, and I have everything in life that I could ever ask for. And I would never change a thing, even if the last year, as hard as it was, to be right here, right now. Sleep deprived and needing a lot of coffee or not. To be among you guys and sharing a story about not letting the drug be the focus of the story. That's why I'm not naming what it is, because it no longer has power over me. It has none. And the journey isn't about where you're at your darkest, it's your journey to get back to the light. And I guess I wanted to stress how hard this journey has been, but it will never have the power. The power to me is in the discipling and all the amazing things that we are doing. All the things I've learned, the inspiration, the community work. You guys have made a huge difference in wanting me to help others, and for that I am eternally grateful. That's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, his journey. We stand together. As he said, we meet each week to disciple and to teach him and to grow. This is what it means to be church. This is what it means to be family. This is what it means to be TBC, the best